If you are an author who wants to create an immersive writing experience for yourself, there are some things you can do to create and craft the world around you as you're writing it in your novel. So you want to be very aware of how you're creating your space. And that can start with something as simple as mood lighting. So you are going to get, and this does not have to be professional quality lighting equipment. I am a professional. This is not. These are color changing light bulbs that you can get from the store. You can get from Amazon. I'll link these down below because I really like this kind. This is really nice because it's controlled by an app and you can just turn it on from your app. You can do a lot of different things for it. You can change it with the scenes that you're writing. If you're doing an evil scene, you can make it all dark and moody. If you are doing a happy and encouraging scene, you can make it bright and popping, and you can raise and lower the intensity levels so that it's brighter in the room or darker in the room. You can do things like flameless candles so that it creates that flickering kind of by the fireside effect. You can create and craft the lighting in your space to match what you're writing about or the mood that you're writing about so that it's more inspirational. You feel like you are in that space. So paying attention to your lighting and even just turning off the lights in the room and just having that mood lighting is also going to be really valuable to you. Now, you also want to make sure that you are creating sounds in your space, but I do not recommend that you're writing to music. That tends to really influence your writing and not necessarily for the better, but I really like having music that is mood music without words because you don't want to be influenced by those lyrics and with what you're writing. So having that mood music is fine, but I really like sound effects. So if you're writing in a particular location, have a sound effects track from YouTube playing. If you're writing in the forest, have birds calling out. If you're writing during a storm, have the storm sensation going. If you're writing in an urban setting, have city sounds. You can pick what you need for that scene and have just the sounds playing around you. That's going to be more beneficial to leaning into it. And a lot of times you can actually write what you're hearing into the novel, which brings me to my next thing. If you are creating something that has like a live stream for it, pull up the live stream. I was writing a mermaid book. So while I was writing the mermaid book, I pulled up a live stream of Under the Ocean and I watched the seaweed swirl and I watched the fish swim by. And sometimes it was nice and calm and just a normal ocean. And sometimes it was stormy and it did all these things. And I watched the debris swirling around in the water and I watched the fish and I watched how things interacted. And I wrote it into my novel. I didn't even have to create the illustrative work inside of it because I could visually see it. And I could take bits and pieces of it and write it into it. It informed the environment. There was a time when I was writing my novel and it started to storm outside, like real life outside. And I wrote it into my novel because it felt right and it felt good and I could see that environment around me. Even though the scene didn't necessarily need to be during a storm, it enhanced what I was doing. It gave me the opportunity to do something really cool. And that was not what I was doing for everything else. By putting in different environmental factors, you're going to build up that world building inside of your novel. So having a live stream up somewhere is really beneficial, which also brings me to this. I like to use extra screens for my live streams and for the other things I have around. So if you have an extra screen, it's like a dual monitor, use one of those to show your YouTube videos or to show your character art or to show the things that you need as a visual representation of what you're writing. This is my LG Stand By Me. I freaking love this thing. It is a rolling screen that is vertical or horizontal. You can turn it. You can even have it like sideways at an angle. You can tip it up, you can tip it down, and it's cordless. So you just recharge it and it lasts for a couple hours so you can wheel it around your house. If you're writing in bed, it can be right next to your bed. If you are going to be in the bathtub soaking and writing on your tray, it can be in there. There's no camera in there and on this so that you can have privacy while you're doing this. You can bring it into the kitchen while you're sitting at a kitchen island and your kids are in the other room watching TV. You can have that there and you can use that as a second monitor. But you can use this for other reasons as well. I like to have my character art on it. So if I've made character art or if I've commissioned character art, I'll just put it up in a grid and I can look up at my characters and know the eye color, the hair color, the things, the vibes. If I've made like an aesthetic panel, you can put that up there as well to have that there so you can look to it as a visible representation of what you are writing. You can use this as a checklist. You can put the checklist of the things you have to do that day as a writer. Click, 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 and you can actually click away at the buttons. You can create different things. You can pull up different apps. If you are somebody who like watches TV, you can actually put up your Hulu or your Netflix beyond your computer and watch it wherever you're writing. I really like this for working on my book though. So I can use this for my timeline in my novel. I can just put, here's what I have plotted, here's what we're writing to next, and it's right there as a representation, really big. It's nice and big so that I can do a lot of stuff with this one. And it's touchscreen and it rolls and it does all the things. If you want a video on this, I'll actually link you to some of my videos that I made over on the main channel, so I won't get too deep into it here. It's a bit of an expensive investment, but my gosh, it's worth it. It's worth it very early on. This really makes a ton of difference in your author career. So many ways you can use it. I actually just did a video on different ways entrepreneurs can use it. I'll link that one too, because that's a really valuable one for you to be able to get some ideas on how to use this as well. You can also do this with other screens. You can get another computer screen. You can get a TV screen. You can get a TV screen and do this so that you have access to these things if you don't want the functionality of this particular one. I have the one really popular screen monitor from TikTok. I'll link that for you as well. And I love that. I have that hooked up to my second computer. So I have one computer where I do a lot of my editing, one computer where I do a lot of my writing and businessy stuff. I've got it connected to the other one, and I can use this as, and this as well. I use those as teleprompters for film and videos. I can use them as checklists for the things I'm going to be discussing in my videos. I can use that to see, I can mirror things with it. So you can see I'm mirroring my artwork with it right now, but I can mirror my phone with it. So I can actually see myself if I'm recording from my rear-facing camera on my phone. I can see what I'm doing because it's mirrored to this. There's so many good uses for this. I cannot say enough good things. And also, if you are a parent, you can just set your kids off on this one. They can watch TV. They can play with the different apps. There are kid apps on there so that you can get your work done no matter what room you're in or where you are. Whether or not there's a TV or another device for them, they can access this and that can keep them occupied. There's other apps on this as well, by the way, if you want to like do your workouts to this, wherever you are. It's so functional for parents. But this is a really good one as an author, just to help you elevate what you were doing and how you're creating it. So you're looking for lighting. You are looking for sound effects. You're looking for visual representations through those live stream feeds, through the artwork you've created, through different aesthetic things that you have created to have yourself built around a world of your book. So you are effectively creating the space that you're writing in. So you're looking for those three main elements: the lighting, the audio, and the visuals. Those things are going to be good to surround yourself with. Now, I like to tuck myself back in a corner. I like to have my back to the wall so that I'm facing the wide open room or a window, somewhere where I have a lot of depth and space that I can see. Writing facing a wall is not helpful to anybody. We've had lots of videos on why that actually hurts your creativity and what you're doing and your physical well-being as well. So have your back to it. Have your back to the wall, to the corner, and be facing the wide open space is going to help you write better. And then create your environment, your visuals, your lighting, your sounds. Have those things in conjunction to the scenes you are writing. The scenes, not the book as an overall, but the scenes as you're writing, and change them as your scene changes. If you're doing something dark, you've got the red. If you're doing something that's lighter and brighter, you've got like a bright, happy blue. If you're doing something romantic, have the pinks, have the sounds of the urban environment, of the construction happening, of the birds out in the woods, of the babbling brook, of the waterfall, under the sea. Have the stuff. Have it there to create that world around you and immerse yourself in it as you're writing, because it elevates what you're doing. It heightens your senses so that you're aware of more things and you can write those things into the books that you are creating. That elevates everything you're doing. So you may be the most creative person in the world. You may know exactly what you're doing. This is still going to give you ideas and experiences and stuff that you can do to enhance your writing. Follow along for more tips on as being an author to make this your most profitable year ever with the least amount of stress, overwhelm, and time commitment as you're creating your content and elevating what you're doing between your writing, your publishing, and your marketing to make more money so you can live your best life while also living your best author life. We'll see you in the upcoming episode.